Did you hear the news? Apple released new phones. I'm sure you didn't hear it on anybody else's channels or on Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else. I'm probably the first person who's ever even mentioned it. So yes, Apple released 3 new phones. 2 of them were available for order a few days ago. The other one is not going to be available, the iPhone X, until the end of October. I'm still up in the air thinking about that one. It's sort of a new first generation type thing, and I am kind of an early adopter, but I don't know if I'm that early of an adopter. Either way, I did go ahead and order a phone, and I figured since the last time around I ordered the iPhone 7, I loved this little phone. It was great, but I missed out on some stuff with not having that second camera. And since I have kind of gotten myself used to using the larger phones with the Note 8, and I do kind of like having that second camera lens for the portrait mode, live focus mode, excuse me. This time around, I went with the iPhone 8 Plus, and this is the silver model. I did go with the 64 gig version of it. I don't tend to use a huge amount of storage on my phones. I bought the 128 gig iPhone 7, and that was a great choice because it wasn't 32, but I could not justify going up to 256 gigs just yet, but 16 and 32 is a little bit limited, so 64 is a pretty good place for me. And without any further ado, you know what the iPhone is. Let's just pull it out of the plastic and get started so I can start using it. I will say, since my wife actually took my iPhone 7, I've been using the iPhone SE as my secondary backup phone and the Note 8 as my primary. I'm super tempted to make the iPhone 8 Plus my primary until I decide if I want to do the iPhone 10. You'll have to let me know what you think. I do intend to do some camera comparison stuff, because that's kind of one of my big focuses with new phones, is how good is the camera. Anyway, inside of the packaging, designed by Apple in California. Welcome to the iPhone. There's your SIM ejector tool, a little tiny user guide, and a couple of Apple stickers. There is the iPhone 8 Plus with all of its plastic wrap all around it, all the way around it. I do kind of like the way that Apple handles that. It's just one very quick, fluid motion to take care of it. And of course, as with last year's iPhone 7, you get the pair of Lightning earpods and then the Lightning to 3.5mm headphone jack, which I've actually left the iPhone 7 ones just like this, and I'll probably do the same with these. Of course, you get the little wall brick, just a simple 5V 1A USB plug. Again, it's going to stay in the box. And then another Lightning cable. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. That's where this new series of iPhones gets a little confusing, because they all support fast charging. It can go from 0% to, I think it said 50% in a half an hour. But the only way to do that is if you use a Lightning to USB Type-C cable and one of Apple's higher powered adapters, at least the 29-watt USB-C adapter, and then the ones that come with the MacBook Pros and stuff like that. But that cable, the only place I've found to buy that cable in the proper format, the one that comes with USB power delivery built in, is from Apple Direct, and it's at least $25. So I might end up picking one of those up. I don't really know. But anyway, back to the phone. As you can see here, this is a silver color. There are also black and gold editions, and the gold one is not exactly gold. It's kind of like a mix between gold and rose gold and kind of a brownish. Anyway, the band around the outside is silver. It's black on the black one. It's gold on the gold one. The back, though, it's almost a white color, and I kind of like that. Just as a comparison to the iPhone 7, this is the matte black iPhone 7. Then we've got the silver iPhone 8 Plus. Significantly larger, if you couldn't tell. Here's your dual camera hump on the back and that multi-tone LED flash. I think it's a quad tone, isn't it? Volume buttons and notification toggle over here on this side. Power button and SIM tray on the other side. Lightning port and speaker on the bottom. Nothing on the top because, again, no headphone jack. But again, after having used the Note for a little while, and actually I upgraded to an Otterbox case, which is a ridiculously expensive case, but I feel a little bit more comfortable now. I've gotten used to having a larger phone in hand and in pocket, so hopefully I'll get used to this as well. Let's go ahead and get it started up. And by the way, I guess prepare to do away with this button. It's already not even a button anymore. It's just the buzz and the tactile feedback are all in software now. But if you go with the iPhone X, you're not even going to have a button. It's going to be all display, and you're just going to have to use gestures. But anyway, let's go ahead and get everything set up and signed in and ready to go so I can start using the phone. Now, actually, this is an interesting one. It says Quick Start. If you have an iPhone or iPad running iOS 11, bring it nearby to sign in automatically. If you want, you can also set it up manually. I did happen to go ahead and upgrade my little iPhone SE to iOS 11, so let's see. And actually, it did pop up here and says Set up new phone. It says use your Apple ID to set up this new phone. Okay, sorry, I was covering my email address there. And it says hold the new iPhone up to the camera, position the pattern in the circle, and now it's doing the connection, and it's going to transfer information and everything. Enter the passcode for your other iPhone. This is a very new experience for me. And by the way, another really cool feature about buying this phone, I bought it directly from Apple. With other iPhones I've looked at, they don't actually have the unlocked version right out the gate. I think this iPhone 7 that I bought was the T-Mobile version, and then they eventually start selling the unlocked versions. Like, they don't do it immediately for some odd reason, but with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, they did. So I was able to buy a complete unlocked phone. It was expensive, it's like $800, but still, I didn't didn't have to buy it on a carrier, I didn't have to buy it on a plan, so I can go ahead on either T-Mobile or AT&T and use this phone with no questions asked. And it says SIM required. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the SIM over from this old iPhone to the new one. It's very stiff. There we go. Now, some of the major differences with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus against the iPhone 7, first and obviously for me, is the glass back. It allows it to have wireless charging. And not only that, it does fast wireless charging, although I don't think it's quite the same as the one with Samsung. I will try it out with some of my Samsung fast wireless chargers and see if it works with that. For me, a big difference is going to be the camera, because we had the 12 megapixel rear facing, now I've got the 12 megapixel dual rear facing cameras. Only the wide angle lens is optically stabilized on this one. The iPhone 10, they're both stabilized. Oh, now it's time for Touch ID. There we go. And I'll set up other fingers later. And there we go, we're set up. Now it's asking if I want to restore anything, set it up as a new phone, or move some data from Android. We'll set it up as a new phone. Not a big deal. You can go ahead and enable location services and set up Apple Pay later. We'll set up Siri. Hey Siri. The other iPhones are freaking out. And now it's ready. Analytics, we don't want to. True Tone display, you can turn it on or off so it does adapt to whatever environment you happen to be in. So see, without, you hold it, you can see it does change a little bit. Now you can't really tell so much on the camera, but just looking at it here, it goes a little bit more blue whenever I say without. We'll leave it on. And then meet the new home button. We'll go ahead and customize that. The click can be 1, 2, or 3, so tap, tap, tap. I'm gonna go with 3. Display zoom, I want it standard. And now hopefully we're done. There we go. And it's a phone, and it's hopefully ready to use. I've still got to install my apps and everything, but one of the big differences between this and the previous phones that I've used is this one does have that dual camera, which means that I can actually use like portrait mode. So here it is. It says portrait camera, create a portrait with sharp subject against a blurred background. You can also add portrait lighting, another new feature. Not sure if they're going to backport that to the iPhone 7 Plus or not. If you have a 7 Plus and you've got an iOS 11, let me know if it's working for you. Let's hit continue. And here's your options down at the bottom: natural light, studio light, contour light, stage light, and then stage light mono, where it goes black and white. So let me see if I can take a photo with this in portrait mode and see if it'll work. Well, it's not the best portrait, but it definitely did work. And if I hit edit, I should be able to come in and make changes to the lighting. So you can see natural light, studio light, contour light. Oh, it definitely does change. Stage light, that's where it kind of cuts out the background. That looks a little bit weird. And then stage light mono, very dramatic. That's kind of cool. And it's a gimmick, I know, but it's something that I can definitely see using with the kids. The one thing I will say I like a little bit better about the way Samsung does it, here's a portrait I took of my little boy the other day, and up here at the top you can see it has close-up and wide angle buttons. Of course, you can also adjust the background blur afterwards. I don't believe there's actually an adjustment for that in this. If there is, I just am not familiar with it yet, but I can make the background more blurry or less blurry. But then I can also click the wide angle button to see the other shot that was taken at the same time that sort of composes together to make that. So that's kind of cool. You do get 2 shots in one with this, and I don't think you do with this. But either way, you know, it's just a very quick first look at this phone. I'm definitely looking forward to trying out the camera some more, because if you weren't aware, if you actually come into the camera settings, you can see record video here, 1080p at 30 frames a second, but it does go all the way up to 4K 60 frames per second, which is just ridiculous. So I may be doing some videos about that here pretty soon. We've also got slow-mo that goes up to 1080p at 240 frames per second. And you can change your formats now, so you've got high efficiency or the most compatible, so it'll use the newer format. Since I use Final Cut Pro for my editing, the high efficiency, the newer format should work just fine, but if you don't, there's another option there. But yeah, this is not meant to be a thorough, in-depth video about this. Just sort of wanted to let you know that I picked it up, that I'm going to be testing it, I'm going to be using it for a couple of videos moving forward, probably comparing it to a couple other phones, maybe not the most obvious ones, and we'll just see how it works out for me. Also going to be taking a look at some other cases for it. I will possibly end up picking up another Otterbox for this though, just because glass front and glass back, just like the Note device, just like all of Samsung's devices, if you drop it, you're in trouble. So let me know what you think of it. Let me know if you think this is worth it, because technically I think this is the only phone on the market, the 8 and the 8 Plus, the only ones that will do 4K 60 and 1080p 240. The Note 8 is supposed to be doing 4K 60, but it's going to be in an update down the road, so it doesn't do it yet. So I'm really looking forward to 4K 60 on this, being able to get beautiful 4K footage and then slow it. Oh, it's going to be so nice. But thank you guys as always for watching. Again, let me know the kind of stuff you'd like to see me talk about this, something that's different from the other large tech channels on YouTube, something that's unique, and I'll see what I can do. Hit that like button if you liked the video. Subscribe to receive more and to get notified whenever I put out new videos. Ding the little bell so you actually get notifications too. And I'll see you again next time.